Hey y'all. Oh, can you tell I've been in Texas the past 3 days? Uh, as you can see, I'm not in the same spot anymore. I'm actually in Las Cruces, New Mexico now. I spent most of today driving about 12 plus hours from the Dallas area to Las Cruces. Tomorrow I'm checking out the White Sands National Park, White Sands Missile area that has a visitor center, and apparently there's some NASA thing around here too. So a little tired, probably going to keep this short tonight. I tried recording it once, and all I was doing was like telling my day two like stuff out of my journal, which were the 14 chapters of my life. And I'm like, why am I talking about this? I don't know. It just didn't seem like it was very interesting or um, helpful to me or probably to you. So, um, yeah, I was thinking about just skipping to day three. So let me just quickly tell you about day two, and then I'll skip to day three, which I think will maybe help me a little bit more than just going through the chapters. It was a good exercise of going through this day two, because what it is what chapter headings best organize your life story thus far, and then it gives some examples. And in my previous recording, I was saying, 5 years ago and maybe even 4 years ago, I had people, say to me, you should really consider writing a book. Well, according to this, I have 14 chapters so far that I could write on, from childhood to preteen to the high school years to the college years. Chapter 5 is marrying early. 6 is the scary world of entrepreneurship. 7 is having kids at a young age. 8 is uncertainty and lots of moving and personal hardships. 9 is the one fire days and some normalcy. 10 is cancer and loss. 11 is trauma and abuse. 12 is impulsive emotions, fear of being alone. 13 is addiction and depression. And 14 is the current chapter, Rediscovering Me. So those are my chapters. If you want any detail on those, and if any of those relate maybe to your life or one of those chapters, I don't know. It's a good exercise. I would encourage you to do it. If you have time, is just sit down and kind of think through that. Like, how would you define your life in chapters? If somebody came to you and said, I want you to write a book about your life, what would be those chapters? How many would you have? And how much detail do you think you could get into for each one? So anyhow, that's day two's prompt. Day three, which I'll dive into just a little bit here, and I won't keep you long. What are 6 words that best describe the reality of your life so far, or thus far? And it gives some examples, but I won't talk about those. And then it says explain. So from day one, one of the key words for me has been struggle. So struggle, right, from a financial perspective, from a health perspective, as I've already talked about with my weight and food addiction and everything. With loss, with trauma, all those different types of things. I try to just kind of sum that up as struggle, right? That seems to be one of those 6 words. And I wouldn't say I had a hard time. I wanted to make sure I had a balance, right, between positive things and some not so positive things. So the second one is accomplishment. So that describes the reality of my life, just because, as I mentioned, right, I don't have a degree, but I've been able to have some great careers, or a great career, more specifically in the design area and what I've done with my 2 times at Caterpillar, working at Simantel, starting my own business. I would say that it's been somewhat accomplished, and now leading a nonprofit and being kind of viewed as a community leader. So accomplishment was the second one. I don't know if the word doesn't necessarily jive with the other ones, but connecting. But this goes back to the first day, and that chart I was telling you about that my friend sent me. It's like, what's your superpower? And I think it is a reality of my life, through most of my life, is being that connecting, of being able to connect people together, just from different spheres for different reasons. So that's something that kind of describes my life. The fourth one is uncertain, and I think that's kind of always been there. I'm not sure what's next. And I think that goes along with the life of an entrepreneur, right? That sometimes something's thrown at you and you have to make a shift. You have to go a different way, and you feel uncertain because you're not sure what's next. And I think that's been kind of the case for at least the majority of my adult life. I think that word kind of fits really well. Let's see. The fifth one I did was servanthood. So I think in careers and in life and family stuff too, just being a caretaker, which I talked about before, taking care of others' needs first before my own. And then I had two of the last two, which I've mentioned before. Well, the first one I've mentioned before, impulsive and spoiled. So, and my wife's probably like, nodding her head because we've talked about this before. But part of us just being an only child, and naturally as an only child, I think most only children are spoiled in some way. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean gifts, but in terms of attention and affection and those types of things. So, and that carries through, right? That carries through, your life of just not entitlement, but just being spoiled and expecting attention and having the light kind of shine on you. And impulsive, right? That's always been a thing too, kind of tied together, but just in terms of decision making, moving, all those types of things. And it's obviously got me in trouble from a financial perspective in the past, and also with some relationship things, which I'm not going to talk about tonight. So, and that one's related to the trauma and the abuse, but we won't talk about that. So, those I did 7 instead of 6, but the struggle thing, which I'll probably talk about tomorrow, and I mentioned this the last time too about the food thing. I think the food addiction portion has been a root cause of a lot of stuff, and that's something I guess I would just challenge all of you to think about too. Is if you have hardships or struggle with things or relationships or whatever it might be, I've always kind of been a believer in this, like trying to identify what is the root cause. And that's the whole thing of identifying the disease instead of the symptom, right? You may have all these different symptoms, but what's the underlying condition that you're dealing with, that you're struggling with? So just encourage you to try to think about that. I think it's become more clear to me as I've come out of this and have gotten control of the food thing and battled that addiction and been able to overcome it. And it's still kind of there a little bit, but physically I can't, so it makes it a lot easier to get over it. But it might be something else for you. So just try to think through that. What is that root cause thing that might be holding you up from other things? So, but also too, don't forget to focus on the positive. I think everybody's got some demons. Everybody's got something, that troubles them, that, gets at them. But there are always positive things, I believe. You've got a superpower. You do something really well. Maybe you take care of others, whatever it might be. So that was day 3. I know it's kind of random, kind of short. I'm going to go ahead and read day 4. Like I said, I may not get to this tomorrow, but here's day 4. What is the trajectory of your life story in the following areas? Is it getting better or worse? 1, health, and in parentheses, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. 2, happiness. 3, family. 4, leadership at work. 5, personal fulfillment. And 6, moral character. So it's homework for all of you, as I do it as well. And I'll hold this up to the camera so you can see it. You can pause the video if you want to. Maybe no, because I have the focus on and it's not going to. So sorry. I will put these in the notes for this one so that you can be thinking about those for tomorrow. Or you could just go buy the book. That'd be a lot easier. But anyhow, health, happiness, family, leadership at work, personal fulfillment, and moral character. Those are the 6 things. And your trajectory of your life story in the following areas. Is it getting better or worse? So it gives me 2 pages for those, so that's going to be a little bit more extensive one that we'll see if we get through tomorrow. So anyhow, thanks for listening again. Thank you to all of you that have subscribed on YouTube. I didn't expect any subscribers, so it's pretty humbling to have some. And the views are much more than I ever imagined. So thank you again. Like I said, actually I didn't say it in this one, but tomorrow night, check it out online on Facebook at 5 o'clock. Will be Whiskey Talks that I'll be co-hosting with Christopher Ferris from the library. And then at 6 will be the Return to Better Peoria Mayoral Candidate Forum. Sorry. That I'll be co-hosting with Joshua Gunn from the Peoria Chamber of Commerce and the Young Professionals. So if you're around tomorrow night, we'll be doing those live, and then hopefully I'll get another video tomorrow night and some pictures as well as I go to these national parks tomorrow. And it's absolutely gorgeous out here. I drove through the mountains on the way here today through New Mexico, and it was breathtaking. So if you get a chance, I highly suggest it. But I'll be back with you tomorrow with some of that stuff. I hope you have a good night, and we'll talk to you then.